It's New Comic Weekly. You guys know what it is. Every single week, except for last week, I bring you guys my new comic book day pull list. Check it. For July 8th. That's the week we're talking about. A lot of cool absolute releases. Of course, we're going to get into it. Some stuff from Marvel, DC Vertigo, some stuff from Image Comics as well. So we'll get into all of the new comics I plan on picking up, of course. We always like to get into some of the collected editions as well, so you guys can find some cool stuff from Marvel Comics. Looks like they got a new Marvel premiere coming out. And then, of course, we have some other trade paperbacks. We'll take a look at the hardcovers as well. I don't think anything really jumping out as far as the hardcovers go. A couple Omnis, all right? A couple Omnis, we'll get into it. And then, of course, we've got the FOCs. The FOCs we're talking about, though, are for next week. So give you guys a full week to get ready for these FOCs. And then we'll, focus down the list to all the issue number ones, all the new series that are starting up soon. You got to put these on your comic book pull list. Let your comic book shops know, or else you'll be missing out on Buffy. You'll be missing out on Queen and Black Thor. You'll be missing out on all these comic books, man. This is New Comic Weekly. Of course, the last topic, the last segment for New Comic Weeklies every single week. Try to do some comic book reviews for you guys. Didn't get a chance to read a ton of stuff, all right? Only got a chance to read these three. We'll get to the conclusion of Absolute Martian Manhunter. Not Absolute Batman, just Batman number 11, not Absolute, but that was a good issue. And then Dead Man number 2 as part of DC's Next Level. We'll get into it. Thanks for joining, by the way. We got Paul Deb joining in. We got Far Sender. Also got Matrix 07 says yo. But let's get into the pull list for this week. My most anticipated, of course, is gotta be, I was gonna say, Absolute Batman 22. It is like very greatly anticipated, of course. We have the origin of Harley Quinn as the Robins nest in Gotham's backyard and Batman faces ultimate defeat. Harley Quinn's origin is revealed. How does Harley connect with Arkham? And how did the Robins fledge from hatchlings to birds of prey? The call of more than one predator will be answered in this issue. Of course, we have Werther Dell'Edera. He's the artist for Something is Killing the Children over at Tiny Onion / Boom Studios with James Tynion IV. Still got Frank Martin's doing the coloring, of course. Keep it all consistent when we don't have Nick Dragotta. So I'm greatly anticipating that, of course. But Absolute Catwoman number 2. I'm not going to lie, dude. I liked Absolute Green Arrow number 1, okay? I like Green Arrow number 2, Absolute. But I think Absolute Catwoman number 1, that like floored me, okay? That like really kind of swept me off my feet. I'm like on this journey with Selina. I'm ready to go. So I'm excited for number 2, Selina on the run. Of course, we got I don't know if it's a spoiler at this point. We got to look at Cassandra Cain, the Absolute version, of course. We know that she's going to be making her grand appearance after this issue, after issue 3 of Absolute Catwoman. We get Cassandra Cain, Shadow of Cassandra Cain. I forget exactly what it's called, all right? I did a full video on that. You can check that out, of course. But yeah, Absolute Catwoman, just this corner of the Absolute Universe, I'm finding very interesting. The kind of espionage sort of angle to it, I think they're really knocking it out of the park so far. Che Grayson with Bangle on the art, doing the coloring as well. Excellent stuff. So Absolute Catwoman number 2, looking forward to that. We can also talk about Daredevil number 4, man. This series is great so far. I think that I want to see the main creative team. Of course, we got Stephanie Phillips doing the writing. She's killing it. We got Lee Garbett doing the art. He's had such a great look for Daredevil so far. All the fight scenes, the cool new villain designs and stuff like that. But also being able to balance those Daredevil moments with the Matt Murdock, maybe the more quieter moments, the moments in the classroom and stuff like that. I think Lee Garbett is handling both sides of Matt Murdock very well, along with Stephanie Phillips. Frank Martin, again, doing the coloring. What a legendary career this guy's having. Frank Martin doing all the great coloring. Of course, let's talk about Fury of the Firestorm really quick before we jump into the chat. The end of Firestorm, Lorraine has tracked down Dr. Martin Stein, but what she learns in the process could mean the end of Firestorm and Ronnie Raymond. Jeff Lemire and Rafael de la Torre are just killing this Firestorm series, man. Let me show you the preview just real quick. Just this page, okay? So no spoilers. Just to give you an example of the artwork, man. Very clean, very thin lines, kind of wispy. I think it's really, really put to great effect in this series so far. Kind of an origin story for the Fury of the Firestorm, or the Firestorm character, I never knew Firestorm like that. So Jeff Lemire is kind of providing that great insight, but also doing kind of a new status quo change for the Firestorm character. Just the fact that it's an entity not dominated by Ronnie Raymond or Martin Stein. What kind of takes its place? Very interesting question from Jeff Lemire. Continuing with the pull list, let's talk about Bleeding Hearts number 6. This has been a real fun series from Dennis Camp, Stepan Morian. I guess I would say from where it started, it's down a tiny bit, just a little bit. I still think that Stepan Morian and Dennis Camp are doing great stuff with the series. I'm still invested in Poke and learning about Rabbit, the little girl, what kind of journey she's going to be going on as they're trying to escape from this zombie horde. And for those that don't know about the series, just showing you guys the art style, it's very great stuff from Stepan Morian with coloring from Matt Hollingsworth. I don't know, that Stepan Morian can like play with the form. Like it can get cartoony whenever he wants it to. Like, I don't know, like stretching, you know, kind of pulling, like just getting more abstract with the artwork. This great cartoonish sort of style, I think really matches the story they're telling so far. And yeah, it's time to party like you're never gonna live. It's the 11th annual outbreak. For those that don't know, in this series, the zombies, they're all talking. They have their own culture and community. They celebrate their own holidays, you know what I mean? So very interesting stuff for a zombie story, kind of turning the whole thing on its head. Imagining a zombie, as you guys see there on the top, that guy's name is Poke, on right here. His name is Poke, and he is starting to get more empathy for humans, starting to, you know, say like, oh, I don't want to eat them anymore. And that's very interesting for a zombie, of course. So there we go, Bleeding Hearts number 6. Mask number 2, man. I thought Mask number 1 was great. New hit series from the Energon universe continues. We got Dan Waters writing, Simon Parr on the art. Excellent stuff, man. I loved Mask number 1. It wasn't like, oh crap, this is insane. It kind of just set the stage for Mask, right? So you got this new dude, Matt Tracker. He is putting together a team called Mask. And in issue number 1, he says like, hey, we're not working for the US government. Like, this is very different than G.I. Joe. This is Matt Tracker going to be doing his own thing as he starts to assemble his crew, going up against, I believe they're called Viper. Okay, so it's kind of like Cobra and the G.I. Joes. We're going to have Mask versus Viper, but I like it's kind of more spy slanted in Mask so far, I feel. So yeah, Mask I think is great. They have of course, like the transforming vehicles, like that's just fun, right? So you get that sort of Transformers flavor to it. It's kind of like in the middle of Transformers and G.I. Joe in my mind, leaning a little bit more towards G.I. Joe, of course. So that's where I like my Energon Universe stuff. Less so the Void Rivals is good. I just fell off of it, but less so like the Void Rivals Transformers, like Spacey's kind of side of it. I like the grounded spy operative sort of side of the Energon Universe so far. So Mask fits right in. Been enjoying it a whole lot. Excited to see Dan Waters continue with the series. Exquisite Corpses, Rascal Randy. The cotton-tailed Exquisite Corpses killer gets a spin-off origin story. We know that Tyler Boss is coming in to write this one. He has some really great slasher kind of horror chops that he's been building up the last couple of years. And then, of course, we got Dylan Burnett, Jordi Belair as the colorist, and Becca Carey as the letterer. So a lot of the same creative teams behind the original Exquisite Corpses series are rejoining for the first spin-off series in Rascal Randy. For those that want to know kind of what led up to Rascal Randy ending up in season number 1 of Exquisite Corpses, this is going to be it, right? So witness the final murder spree of this iconic killer as chaos hops into town with buck teeth bared and ears flopping, with the secret sordid history of Rascal Randy is going to finally be revealed. So there we go. Last single issue for today, Die Loaded number 6. This series comes back from its little mini hiatus. We've been waiting ever since April for the next issue, so a little bit of a wait there, but Kieran Gillen and Stephanie Hans are coming in hot with the next entry of Die. Insane first arc. I love being back in the world of Die. It's this great fantasy sort of world, and the end of issue number 6, craziest cliffhanger ever, man. So I'm excited to get back into it. Die number 7, a missing party member, no way to get home, what to do. It's time to get good. But when our cast is falling apart, can they even remember to take the first step? A new dramatic arc for this hit book. I love Die. You're going to want to read the first entire series of Die before jumping into Die Loaded. But there we go. Everything I'm picking up for New Comic Book Day, July 8th. 8 new pickups for a total of $34. I guess $35. So yeah, keeping it a little light this week. Let me know down in the comments what I'm missing on my pull list. If you guys are picking up anything other than this, I'd be curious to know. Alrighty, let's get back into it by talking about some of the collected editions you guys can find at your comic book stores on July 8th. Of course, The Amazing Spider-Man Torn. This is from J. Michael Straczynski. We're not even going to attempt to say it, dude. JMS, dude. Everybody calls him JMS. Spider-Man Torn 1 through 5, a series that came out last year. Of course, we have the Marvel premiere of Spider-Men Worlds Collide. This is going to be issues number 1 through 5 of Spider-Men, the 2012 series, and Spider-Men 2 from 2017. Brian Michael Bendis, Sarah Pichelli, bringing us some Miles Morales and Peter Parker Spider-Man content. I've not read this material before, but I'm interested now, knowing that the Marvel premiere is coming out. Thinking about covering the Marvel premieres for the channel. Thinking about it. They're more expensive, though. It kind of stinks. They're a little bit more expensive at $15 than the DC Compacts at $10. Something to keep in mind. Of course, we have Orion, the trade paperback coming out. This is for younger readers, like the YA audience. Dark Moon Rising, Batman and the Monster Men, a Matt Wagner series. I love Matt Wagner's art style. Seeing his covers a lot as I'm reading through Batman Under the Red Hood compact comic. In that era of Batman, Matt Wagner did a lot of the covers. Great stuff, and I've heard good things about Batman and the Monster Men. Now that the trade paperback is coming out, people are talking about it. Getting reminded how awesome of a series it is. Hulk Smash Everything is a Ryan North written Hulk series. This will be 1 through 5 collected in this trade paperback there. We have Wrestle Heist. This is a Kyle Starks written series. I haven't read it, but I love the art style. I think it looks very charming. I'm not into wrestling, though, so I probably won't pick it up. Continuing on, we have Red Book from Dark Horse Comics. That is part of Tiny Onion's what's it called? Strange. It's like True Tale stuff, you know what I mean? What's it called, though? He calls it... There's a word that this is called. It's called like the... Could someone post it down here? Nah, they didn't post it. Something of like weird strangeness or something like that. Like a new kind of imprint that James Tynion IV is doing over at Dark Horse Comics, focusing on True Tales, kind of weird conspiracy theory type stories. Of course, we have... let's see. That's kind of it for the trade paperbacks. Let's look at the hardcovers. There were some omnis, right? We have Tom Taylor, Bruno Redondo, Omnibus for Nightwing, volume number 2. If you guys picked up volume number 1, you're going to need this to pair and complete the set. This is going to have issues numbers 97 to 118 and Nightwing Annual number 1, along with an all-new introduction by Devin Grayson and afterword by Bruno Redondo, the script, pencils, and issues to number 105. I believe that's the issue that's all like the one... Is that either the one-shot issue or is that the one that's focused from Nightwing's POV? You know what I mean? Where it's his point of view. Really cool ideas. And then, of course, it has some never before seen art from the making of the award-winning series. You're going to need this to pair with your Omnibus volume number 2. I have it all in singles. Probably at this point in my life, I don't need the Omnis. But there we go for all the Nightwing fans out there. Punisher and Fury Max by Garth Ennis. People speak very highly about Garth Ennis every time he touches the Punisher character. I'm sure that this is probably pretty good. For those that are into the Punisher, I'm not that into the Punisher. Let's see. We have the Silver Age Justice League Omnibus. I know a lot of people are excited about this one. It includes some great stories from Gardner Fox, Mike Sekowsky, and all these other comic book legends from back in the day. You see the cover, give you guys a sense of the type of era and type of stories that this one features. Got this classic Justice League of America and Starro the Conqueror, I believe, on the cover there, right? So there we go. I think that's kind of it for all the hardcovers. As I'm scrolling through, it quickly gets into a lot of stuff for overseas, some Scholastic stuff. And yeah, I think that's it for the hardcovers. All right, bringing it back to the FOCs. This is what you can expect at your comic book stores. What is it? So you got to put these orders in for July 15th, and these are all going to be coming out on August 5th. So the way the FOCs work, we all know that you got to put them in ahead of time. Subscriptions are really important, and it keeps the comic book industry running. All of these are available for FOC, okay? So if you see anything here that's a sequel or a next issue to a series that you've been enjoying, but it's not on your pull list, make sure to rectify that and add it to your pull list to ensure that you get it from your comic book shop. But let's take a look at the number ones, right? So these are the new comic book series that are starting up soon, and you got to put your issue number 1 orders in before July 15th, or else you might be missing out on all these great comic books. If you're into Queen in Black, there's a Thor mini-series that's going to be a part of it. Maybe it's a one-shot. I'm not keeping up with Queen in Black. Rest in peace to those that are. There's a lot of Queen in Black tie-ins. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is going to be a new series from Dynamite Comics, or Dynamite Entertainment, written by Kelly Thompson, right? So following up her really well-acclaimed Absolute Wonder Woman run, she's jumping over to Dynamite to take over Buffy the Vampire Slayer. In every generation, a new Slayer is born, and Buffy Summers may have broken the mold. Though Buffy's powers were varied and great, it was the love and devotion she inspired that was perhaps her greatest power. And when she gave her life to save the world, the people who loved her couldn't live with that. This is that story. Sounds like, and I don't know this for a fact, I'm not a Buffy head, is this a sequel series to this show, right? So maybe does it follow the series finale of Buffy, and this is Kelly Thompson expanding that story? I'm not sure. I'm not a Buffy head, but there we go. For those that are, you can expect Buffy the Vampire Slayer at your comic book stores on August 5th, but make sure you put your orders in because it's on FOC, of course. Let's check out Chachu. This is written by Iman Vellani. I'm so sorry, guys. I cannot read today. But this is the actress, of course, who played Miss Marvel in the MCU. She's coming in to write her own comic book. And it sounds like this one is going to be focused on a 19-year-old Pakistani Canadian girl. I think that she's going to be moving back home. Let's see. She's trying to connect with her estranged uncle, her middle-aged, semi-retired private eye who gained brief fame after marrying the starlet he was initially hired to find. But when his wife goes missing once again, the two are forced on an impromptu road trip to track her down, with Leela navigating young adulthood and he confronting his own mortality and regrets. So you're gonna have this this older dude, kind of the young woman going on this adventure. It's got like sort of private investigator. It says that here. It's got classic neo-noir private investigator story. Okay, and it's got artwork from Mariana Ignazi, who I believe did some of the issues of Exquisite Corpses, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So they're coming in. You got Jordi Belair doing the coloring. And I think it's really cool just seeing more actors and actresses getting involved in comic books. And like, I know people always say like they're only doing that to like make a quick buck, or they're just trying to sell the rights to do a TV show or something like that. I don't know, man. It seems like she is a nerd. She reads comics and she had this idea to do a comic book, right? So I'm never going to knock that, and I'm not going to knock it until I get into my hands and check it out, right? So yeah, I'm excited to check out what Iman is bringing us in this new Image comic series, Chachu, that's coming out very shortly. Star Wars: The Fall of Kylo Ren. I almost called him Rilo Ken. That's weird. Written by Charles Soule, who just kills it on the Star Wars side of comic books. This is going to be a little mini series focusing on Kylo Ren. If you're into Star Wars, if you're into Kylo Ren, make sure to add this one to your pull list. The Legacy of Vader creates a new empire of fear. So there you go. Sounds pretty cool. New Dungeons and Dragons series coming out. This is from Dark Horse Comics. I guess they got the license to do some Dungeons and Dragons comic books. Written by Amy Chu. And if you're into Dungeons and Dragons, there you go. I don't know like the lore of Dungeons and Dragons at all. I've only played a couple times, but there we go. Shell Shock #1. This is a war comic out of Oni Press and their new EC Comics revival. We know that they have Cruel Universe, they got Cruel Kingdom, they got Epitaphs from the Abyss. Like, they got all sorts of new EC Comics, and this one is their kind of war revival. I don't think this one's a series, though, unfortunately. Maybe it's coming out. Yeah, it says one shot right there. Maybe it's coming out like every quarter or something like that, right? So I'm not sure, but I'm into war comics, right? There needs to be more war comics out there. So there we go. Shell Shock from Oni Press is a war comic available for you to buy. Scrolling down, I don't think anything else was interesting me. I don't think anything else on this list interests me. Let's get into some comic book reviews, but of course, I want to shout out Croc Comic in the chat. Shout out to Croc Comic, but let's get into it. Comic book reviews for Absolute Martian Manhunter issue number 12. Man, not gonna lie, this one brought me to tears, okay? You're talking about the end, the conclusion to one of comic book's best ongoing series out right now. It's just excellent stuff. The series is all about communicating with each other. It's all about feeling as a human. It's all about connecting, right? It's all about experiences. This series is about everything, bro. Dennis Camp packed everything, wrapped it up beautifully into a tight, nice little bow. And this is just a perfect way to send off the Martian Manhunter series. It's like, at its core, a story about a father and son, or like a family, right? But Dennis Camp has extrapolated that and used that story and that hardship to like just talk about the human experience, bro. Like this you could break this down, you could cut it, you could slice it, you could talk about Absolute Martian Manhunter for like years. Like there's a million things to say about it, and I won't be able to say it all here. It's just an incredible series. Once he gets fully powered and has like the full scope of the Absolute Martian Manhunter series, you get this beautiful, beautiful sequence. With help, despair becomes delight. Okay, so it's like a hopeful story. It's not about, you know, being at your wit's end and like calling it quits. It's about getting through it and like living life to the fullest, bro. Like this, it was like such an emotional journey. It took like 30 minutes to read. You're just staring at every page from Dennis Camp and Javier Rodriguez, just in awe. This is like the perfect, like, it's just comic book turned up to the max, dude. Like, this is just these comic book creators just pouring it out onto the page, dude. This is what it's all about. This is like the comic book of the year. I think that goes without saying. I think that just what a beautiful way to conclude it. Maybe you miss me, you start losing me in like issue number like 8 or 9, but 10, 11, 12 is like a sucker punch to the face, dude. You just nailed it. So I love that series. I think Dennis Camp, Javier Rodriguez, they're a pair that we cannot wait to see just evolve and just kind of track them as they go on their comic book experience, dude. So yeah, it's like the birth of one of the legends, like one of the comic book legends, this duo right here in the pages of Absolute Martian Manhunter, dude. So yeah, I cannot say enough good things about this series and how it made me feel and just the way that they concluded it. Just beautiful stuff. Batman number 11, a great fight between Batman and Ojo. I believe that's how you pronounce it. As we know that a bunch of assassins, or like this cabal of, you know, behind the scenes people, are sending assassins to go after Bruce Wayne as like the, you know, CEO, whatever, Wayne Tech and all that stuff. But also, I think they're trying to go after Batman as well, right? So kind of the Taurus, he's kind of manipulating things behind the scenes. The other members of Gotham City's, I don't know what you would say, like they're the criminal organizations, like they're like, hey, maybe we should take the fight back to the Taurus. So you get the sense that Gotham City is close to a boiling point, right? And it makes sense as we're driving towards an event. Bad Seeds is about to start up. So they're just getting us ready for that. But in between with this issue here, we get some great moments with Batman and this new villain, the Ojo, as they crash a party. They have a wicked cool fight scene. Batman's number one goal is to disarm the Ojo with her weapons, so she can't cut people in half. And yeah, I just thought that Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez just kept that kinetic momentum going into issue number 11. It's just a knockout series. I think I said it before as I'm streaming down here. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Not a series that's like a 10 out of 10 every issue. It's just like a solid 7.5, 8.5 out of 10. Like just solid Batman content issue after issue after issue. But I think when you string them all together, we're talking 11 issues in. I think that, like, you know what I mean? I think that as a series, if the every issue hasn't gone below a 7.75, you're in great hands, right? Like Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez are just really rocking with the Batman series, and it's got potential. We can see it getting even better a couple issues down the line. Real quickly, let's talk about The Dead Man, issue number 2. I loved issue 1. It was a great primer on the Dead Man character, Boston Brand, how he got into the situation, and what kind of role he plays in the DC universe, being this cosmic, karmic, spiritual custodian, I guess you could say. We find out that Batman and Plastic Man are going on a little adventure, right? And so Dead Man has to get involved in this little adventure. He has to possess he tries possessing Batman at first. That doesn't work. But then he decides to possess Plastic Man. But it's all because Dead Man has to use Batman to get into Blackgate Prison to start interviewing this old guy who Batman and Dead Man took care of a long, long time ago in one of their older adventures. This guy is the bibliophile. He remembers every single book he's read. Essentially, back in the day, he read a really important piece of information that Dead Man needs. So that's why he's got to go into Blackgate, try to pose as either Batman or Plastic Man to get that information out of the bibliophile. But in the middle of that, Mr. Bloom starts going off. Batman gets re-involved into the story. They clean it up. All said and done, they get the information that they need. But the thing I want to mention, right, is... hold on, I passed it. The guy that Dead Man is going after, just overall, is this really creepy guy who's been living forever, right? And he's just eating people, bro. He's just going to colleges. He's eating all the PhD students. And the way that he's eating people and their soul, he's not allowing their souls to move on into the afterlife. And that's going to cause some cosmic imbalance between the anti-life and the life. Things are going to get out of whack. So that's what Dead Man has to stop, essentially. Stop this guy from eating all the souls he's not supposed to keep the universe in balance. And that's the series we got so far. But like I was saying earlier in the stream, people aren't going to like this art style like all the time. It's very much my type of art style. I think that Martin Morazzo and Chris O'Halloran, they work so well together. And it's a style that works very well for me. But I could see a lot of people flipping through this and deciding like, hey, this is not an art style that works for me. I'm not going to continue reading the series. And I don't blame you. But if you're looking for a good Dead Man series, a good place to start with the character from an all-star creative team, from the Ice Cream Man team that just works so well together, this Dead Man series is pretty solid for me. And that's what we have for comic book reviews. And that's actually it for New Comic Weekly. Every single week around 11 a.m. on Sundays, I go through with you guys the entire comic book pull list, the collected editions you can find at your comic book stores that week, and then also we get into the FOCs for the next week, and then we do some comic book reviews for the week previous, right? So that's New Comic Weekly. Of course, I also get into it with the chat, and I love chatting with the chat and getting, I don't know what I'm talking about, dude. That's it. That's it for New Comic Weekly, dude.